This is Trail Talk Live each and every week with me, Aaron Chimmons, and your man here.
Ricky Wayne.
That's it, Ricky Wynn. And I'm in Sydney, Southern Hemisphere. It's 6 a.m. It's a little bit difficult for me this week because we had daylight savings just kick in. So really for me, instead of getting up at 5 for the pod, the brain has got up at 4 for the pod.
Okay.
So, and you are in Romeo?
I'm going to say Font Romo. I'm probably pronouncing that way off, but I mean, it's Font Romo, Font Romo, maybe. I don't know. But
The only
yeah,
other
so
person
it's
I've
kind
heard
of,
say it is Zach Hanna, and I know that wouldn't have been right either. So
no, I wouldn't have had a clue what he said. Not a clue. Wouldn't understand it. Definitely want to know what he said. But for me, it's like, I'm all day going, oh, hold on a second, it's not till 10 o'clock, and I had my times all messed up. So when I got here, I was thinking, oh, I have time to go for a run. So I went for a run. And then I got back and I was like, shit, I gotta go on the show. So like it was frantic. So for everybody, just know that I always show up, no matter how bad it looks.
you keep showing up on time
Yeah.
every week, every week. All right, sponsors. Let's thank them. Get it done. Get the shout outs done. Tantrums, best packs ever. Trail Talk 15 discount. GOREWEAR, I Run Over Mountains 30. A mega 30% discount, and XMiles as well, 10% discount. Link is in the bio, in the description. Catch up on Spotify, Apple, YouTube. It's done. The agenda today, we have to talk a lot about training because you're in a
Mm.
training camp. My race is coming up. Everyone in the community loves the training episodes, so we're going to dig into that. But first off, I mean, we're just going to roll with it here, but on the training side, like, you're not long from the past the worlds, and you're
Mm.
straight into another training camp. So Ricky Wen is showing us the superpower of the pro runner. So why don't you tell us about recovery? Are you even thinking about recovery? Like, where are you?
No, like it's a funny one. It's like, look at I don't do things the normal way, or maybe I don't know what is the normal way, right? But we'll say I kind of base everything off feel. And I knew that I had this opportunity coming up where I could get to Fontramou. So Fontramou, for anyone who doesn't know, is at like almost 1800 meters. Like I'm touching 1800 meters sitting here in this apartment right now. So I'm altitude training right now. So I was thinking I'm going to be in Fontramou for 2 weeks. If I recover well from my last race, I'm going to hopefully train for at least one of those weeks. And then I'm saying I'm not going to waste that. So then I'm going to use that and jump into a race on the 1st of November in Mallorca. It's a UTMB race. It's a 100K race. But I mean, in regards recovery, it's been a funny one. It's like um, Monday after the race, could hardly walk. You know what I mean? Tuesday, same, could hardly walk. And I had like this unbelievable pain in one of my toes. And I was thinking, like, I don't know, man, I can't even walk. But then I did a little bit of doctoring on that toe and found that there was like this is going to be a bit gory, but I found that there was like this huge blister in under my big toe, and like I got in at it, I busted, and I'm not messing. It was like the blister was in my leg because I got this. It was like this release of pressure out of my leg, laying on my foot, and I was like, "Oh man, that felt great." So then the next day I was walking fine. The rest of that day I was walking fine. I had to do an event for Hoka on Friday, just gone. And I said, right, if I can run, I'm going to run. So in the morning, I ran 10K doing that. Then I ran 5K. Then I did 2K because there was these three separate like runs at this event. So I did 10, 5 and 2. And every one of them were kind of like at that steady, let's say 4:30 a kilometer pace. And that felt great. And I was thinking, all right, this is looking really good. I'm back. I'm moving well. I'll run again on Saturday. And then if I run again well on Saturday, I'm going to rest Sunday and I'm going to ramp right back up and like do 2 big weeks while I'm here now in Fontramou. So there's 2 big weeks incoming, Aaron.
I'm worried for you. Like, how how did how does the man do it? Like that, it is impressive that you can turn it around so quickly. Like, has that always been the case? I like everyone kind of knows how long it takes them to recover from something, and maybe I'll prefix this by doing an 80K is a lot easier to recover from than the distances that you've been more used to racing in the past 12 months. So I know that makes a big difference. What's been
Yeah.
the norm for you through the years?
Usually what I do is big block of training, get that race out of the way, and then I usually always take a full week off. It's usually always a full week off. I don't run Monday to Sunday, and then I ease back into it. Right, granted, this is different this time, but usually that's enough, and 1 week off is good, and then I just start slowly building back up again. Now, I might only do, 5 to 8K, and then build it up, and then by the end of the second week that I'm like recovering, I'm back up to sort of like 20, 25K runs. But this is a little bit more forced because of the opportunity that I have right now, how I'm actually feeling right now. And like you said, that race in the Pyrenees at the World Champs, very, very tough race, very, very hard race, very, very technical race, but it didn't completely destroy me. It actually didn't. Like, it was like, yes, I had DOMs for a few days after, but because of, let's say, the technicality of the race where you're either going up or you're going down, there was nothing that was like, I'm running downhill for 20K. That's absolutely blowing you to bits. And same, it was like the race had. I'll tell you what was so cool about that race is that race, it never let you take your foot off the gas. So you went from one thing straight into another, straight into another, straight into another. And it was almost attacking a different muscle group every time. And I found that's why it was the perfect race for a world champs, because it like, you needed all your skills. But by using all of those kind of different muscle groups, different skills, nothing's getting completely destroyed. So I think because of that, my body's just been able to recover that a little bit faster. Now, look, granted, I've took care of myself over that last week, and I was minding myself. I wasn't doing that, and I wasn't back to work. I was sleeping really well. I was eating really well. And look, I do say it like my wife does say it. You're a bit like Wolverine sometimes. I heal really fast. If I cut myself, I heal really fast. You know what I mean?
You're
Maybe I'm
making
just
me
very lucky.
you're making me laugh here because do you remember you had that fall in Chamonix and
Hmm.
you cut your eyelid, but the powers of positive thinking, and the next day you were like to me, look, I see it. Look how quickly that's healing. Sure, it's hardly even there. I'm nearly healed.
Yeah. Yeah, but like you had like, I listened to half of the podcast with Brian Mullins there, on the plane over, and then it's just I couldn't, whatever happened, it just wouldn't let me listen anymore. It was like it was jumping and it was all over the place. I just couldn't seem to watch it anymore. I'll have to try it again. But
Download
like,
it.
yeah, yeah, it was like it was downloading and it wasn't finished. It wasn't fully finished downloading for me. And then the plane took off and it
Mm.
was like, But anyway, like what I got from that was like, do you know, like a part of me is like, when somebody has it way harder than you, and no matter how hard you think you have it, somebody's having it way harder than you. And I'll always go back to this, like, I can't really say anything. Like, look what he's after doing. So you get kind of that in your mindset too. Like, surely to God, if Brian Mullins is thinking about doing this or this or this, I should be able to do, this small race or this short race, or I should be able to stack another block on top of that block. You'll always kind of look at it that way as well. And again, like, you have to know that I'm doing this a long time now, and I know my body, and I know what it can and can't handle. And I'll always know if there's an injury about to pop its little head up, or if there's a niggle coming on. And I'm very in tune with that. So I kind of go by feel, and if I feel good, I'm just going to go for it. Like,
You know the Ricky Wynn underthinking.
hmm,
I have to think that that has its basis in the same this it's based in the same kind of mindset, I think, of the not like we're Brian Mullins, for those listening, the podcast that dropped a day or two ago, big time adventurer, Eiger 250 straight into Swiss peaks and Tour de Glacier, and he's just stacking these big races. And I think the underthinking is maybe like the cheap version of what he has. If you know, like I
Yeah.
can't think of a better,
Yeah.
like you're not thinking about it in the same way as him, but it comes from the same place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the net result is you're not, neither party, neither type of adventurer is overthinking, which is comes from a place of like procrastination.
Yeah. And like differences in the two, right? So there's extreme differences as well. Like there is because like he's a great man for learning and reading books up on about training and getting the maximum out of himself. Whereas in like I do look at that and I go, man, Ricky, you are lazy as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not looking to do any of that kind of stuff. Like I'm like going, no, I haven't time to be reading books about this or this or this. I'm just doing this, you know. But on the flip side, there's so many things that he's doing that I 100% agree with and think that I use in my training as well and in my approach to these kind of races as well. So it can be a bit yin and yang, but then it also can be the same thing at the same time. Like it's very cool, I think.
I think you would I think Brian will look and read the books and learn the theory because he's got a pure interest in it, and he'll train and implement those learnings. Whereas I think that you will catch a glimpse of the blog post or the theme of what the current trend of that is and go,
Hmm.
yeah, sure, I'm doing that anywhere. I'm doing that close to that. I'll give that a go. And that's it. So
Yeah.
you end up getting the training done, but you haven't read the book.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like he said a very cool one about and this is, look, this is like it's been known, right? It's like if you do, and it's very similar to what I'm doing right now, and it's only by chance that I'm doing it right now. It's where I was in Chamonix doing an altitude block, right? So a short, hard week of high training at altitude. Then you go home for 2 weeks, and then I went back out to the Pyrenees and I raced at altitude at the 80K, and then I come back down, and then I come back out now, right now, and I'm doing another 2 weeks at altitude. And for me, it's like I'm doing 3 stints at altitude, but getting back down, recovering properly, going again, and I'm thinking, yeah, I need one more race to before I lose this like stimulus or this fitness, you know what I mean? And that's like true just from looking at how other athletes have done it. I mightn't have read the books, but I know what other athletes are doing to get that sort of that extra, 1% or that 2%, and that's the extra 1 or 2% that I'm interested in, not the fucking shoes or not the socks or not the poles or not the the carbohydrates per gel per hour. It's these are the other things. I think there's much more benefit to them. Like,
Yeah, no, that I think that's a good point. And I did like Brian's comment on when he gets to Chamonix, he'll just get a book and go up on the midi and sit at
yeah,
3,800 meters and read a book all day.
yeah, and like he said straight out, you can't beat that. Like you can train all you want, but it's going to be of no more benefit than reading a book up at the top of 3,800 meters. And he's right. Like,
I want you to be coming out to Chamonix next year with a book.
I
So we
won't
go.
bring a book, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be like the Beano or something. Yeah.
That's class. Um, all right. Look,
Let's because look at I feel like I've hogged so much of the podcast lately, and I'm thinking, man, you've got a race coming up. It's only a few weeks out, and I
you're
haven't really been
upstaging
in
me though.
tune.
You're
Yeah, I
upstaging me.
know.
You didn't even have a race, and now you're doing a race a week before me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. I'm a bit of a prick, all right.
A complete wanker.
And it like look for me it was a spontaneous one. It was like sort of like there was somebody put it in front of me, and like I had this opportunity to come here, but then somebody put that race in front of me and said, are you thinking about doing one more race? And I was like, well, I was kind of like, if all went okay and I felt good and I felt motivated, then yeah, I want to do one more race, you know. And I was thinking maybe I'll just do a race in Ireland, and then I was thinking no, and other things play a factor in it. As in, look, it's the season's nearly over. Um, you're talking January, you're talking contracts, you're talking, let's see where I could put myself in a UTMB race so that come January I have more negotiating power.
Well, let's
Let's
come to
and
that in a bit because I think that's something worth talking about as we race one more time, and then you go into like an off season and what that entails for you and what you're thinking about. So your race is on the 1st of November.
mm,
So
yeah.
you're 4 weeks from this Saturday. So you're like, yeah, just under 4 weeks,
Yeah,
right?
I think I'm like 26 days or something like that, right? Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. And my race is you're on the Saturday. I'm on the following Friday. So my race is the Grampian Peaks Trail, the GPT100. It's 163k, 7,700 meters of vert. Had the stats for now. I've figured the stats out. Seems easy. 7,700.
That's
Oh
not
man,
that
look,
easy. Like,
I'm reading the book about the Bob Graham round at the minute, and I'm thinking I'm just remembering back to clocking nearly around 9,000 meters in 109k. So whenever you look at 7,000, it'd be like, you know, you clock off
ah,
2,000 and then you would clock off half of that before you'd even start to really feel it. And then you'd be like,
yeah,
oh,
but so what are you in case? What is the race in case? 100 and
63.
160. Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's look, I know well, like I know you're doing that, you're breaking it down, and that's a great way to do it. You're trying to break it down mentally in your head. So, sure, it's not that hard. Like, of course it is, you know. But
But
I mean,
whenever
it's
you think
still,
about, when you think about what Brian has done, you have to
that's
reframe these things and
yeah,
you have to benefit from being around these people and listening to their mindset, because if you can
yeah.
apply that to your own stuff, then you know that's the best medicine. So
Isn't that it? Like, yeah, that
I
is
have
it.
to
Like,
my job is just to train and prepare myself as best I can before the race, to go in
mm,
trained, to go in rested, and to go in with a right mindset. And the right mindset is not going, oh shit, it's 7,700. It's 100 miles. It's somewhere I've never been. Oh, you have to carry two snake bandages. Why would I focus on all of that stuff? Why don't I
yeah.
reframe it as in, well, the Bob Graham was 2,000 more than that, and that only took 19 hours, and like I didn't think that that felt difficult. This has got more distance. That means that there's more running in it.
Mm,
I also
yeah,
like the hot weather, so I'm I'm not one to go out and do the fucking sauna sessions and shit like that. Yesterday I went out and did a tempo run at in 27 degrees and 80% humidity.
yeah.
And it was
You don't need to do a
fucking
sauna.
roasting. It
Yeah,
was
you don't need
roasting.
it. Yeah, like that's it. You're going to be heat adapted better than any sauna or bath if you're running in 27 degrees. But like, let's say, how do you think, like, because you've had a busy summer, man, right? And you've had a bit of an injury as well that kind of like stunted some of your training, not all of it. You still managed to get great training in, but then you had tour, you had a busy few weeks at tour. How are you feeling? Like, how do you feel the block has went for you leading up to this race? Now, granted, you've got another, let's say, 5 weeks, but that means you've got three more good weeks of training, and then what, 2 week taper or a 10 day taper, something like that. I don't know, whatever whatever kind of taper you usually do.
The last week it'll fall off big time, but
Mm.
3 weeks out it'll still feel like a week of training. It'll just be slightly less in terms of like long runs might be 3 hours and something rather than 5, 6 hours.
Yeah,
That's all. The back to backs won't seem like back to backs if you're doing three and then 90. That's gonna
yeah,
feel
yeah,
easy, which is the whole point of the taper. And then the last week, you know, on the Wednesday, I'm gonna have to start driving down because it's 1,000, just over 1,000 k's to drive down. So I'll do that over 2 days just so I don't arrive down wrecked, you
Mm.
know. But look, I don't know. It's been funny training this year. I feel like I've had lots of blocks without then having a race and then getting the injury and last year's A race being cancelled or abandoned during. So like the last race that I finished, which wasn't even a race, was the Bob Graham, which was over a year ago. That was like a
Yeah.
year ago in August. So although I've had the feeling of starting a race, I haven't had the feeling of finishing a race apart from running in with you at Western States. So
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? Yeah.
the framing
Man,
for
like it,
me is just to go out there and enjoy it. Like
mm,
it's way more important for me to see this through, and that means that like I don't have any time goals, but I also don't like running with training with time goals. I have pace turned off, heart rate hidden, and I'm running purely by feel on everything. And I think I feel really in tune. Like I'm able to now run all of the hills in Sydney, which I couldn't do before I went to the Alps, and I'm not getting any heart rate alerts. I have my watch alert to alert me if my heart rate gets up towards lactate. So as long as I'm running below that, I'm just managing my own effort, and you know how you're feeling,
yeah.
and you're getting in tune with how you're feeling. So like first, whenever I come back from Iosta after the tour, I just give myself a week to get used to running on roads and beating the legs up. And then the last week and a half, things have been good. Feel strong, but I don't feel like have done a proper block going into the race. I just feel like I will have probably good base fitness going into the
Yeah.
race. Like
Yeah.
this week, um, got a car sorted last week, so this week I'm gonna drive to the trails today, and then tomorrow I'm gonna drive to the mountains and probably do like 45 k's and 2,500 meters of vert with race kit,
Yeah.
and then I'll do that again at the weekend. So kind of this week and next week is kind of the bulk of the
Yeah.
training, but
Yeah.
I probably only get up to like 15 hours. You know, you can only
Yeah.
push
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
can push.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, but 15 hours is still solid, man. That's solid. And you'll be getting some, I'm sure you'll be getting some big vert as well within in that as well, especially if you're doing them too long back to back or those 2 long days during the week, like so you'll be getting lots of vert in. Yeah, I'd say I would imagine you're just itching to race though. Like when you haven't raced for so long, and not that you haven't raced for so long, it's like that you haven't got to finish your race because of Australia and the twisted ankle and a bit of a bummer that, and then you come back and you've seen so much happening this year as well. Like, you know what I mean? You've been at UTMB, you've been at Tour, you've been like face to face with what these legends are doing at the minute. So you'd be like, I know I would be like, you're just sort of chomping at the bit and mad to go, like.
I'm doing this race, right, because of the the other injury, the broken rib, which cancelled the Japanese race, which would actually been this weekend.
Mm.
Uh, so, but like it's a hard rock qualifier, and I've already like decided in my mind that I couldn't be arsed with hard rock anymore. So, and like whenever we last spoke in person, whenever we were doing those pods in Chamonix and stuff, like I wasn't even that bothered about racing this race because like, oh man, I don't know if I could be arsed with this. But speaking with Brian, speaking with Martin
Mm.
Perrier as well, like I just feel like, it's just good experience to remind yourself about the racing,
Yeah.
to go out there. But I do want to do this event as very much like by feel and to
Yeah.
just go and experience it because I think like the difference between me racing it and me going and just doing it finishing time wise could be actually like I could actually just do it by feel and do it better.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
So that's the idea. I want to chat a little bit about Mallorca Because it's the 100K. What's the vert on that? Are you
Uh,
upstaging me on vert here?
No, no, Jesus, no, no, because like this is one of the selling points for me. Like it's looking like it's to me this sounds like a fast race, right? So it's
Runnable.
104, yeah, oof, runnable. Yeah, let's see. I'll be bringing poles, that's for sure. Because the last runnable race, I didn't bring poles to. I very much regretted that I didn't bring poles to. But 104 kilometers with 3,500. But I've seen some places where it hits 3,700. So
Ah, it's nothing.
it's yeah, it's nothing like. So it's like it's not nothing, right? But I mean, it's a fast race. Now, look, there's a reason. There's only 3 stones, for this, right? Which is fine for me because I already have 11. That'll bump me up then to 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'll have 14 stones, you know. But yeah. So 104K, 3,500 meters of climbing. So it's going to be a fast race. I'm thinking like, 11 hours kind of job, maybe and maybe hopefully quicker even, But it is a very uh, technical, rocky course. And I've seen a few YouTube videos on it. Only thing is, we'll say the run they did last year, I think it was a bit of a shit show. And they've had to change the route quite a bit. So, whereas in last year, I think it was almost like a full loop. Now this year, it's an out and back. So you get a bus from the start you get a bus basically from the finish to the start, and you run all the way back. So I like the idea that I like those kind of races where you're running from A to B. I just think it's cool. It's more like Western States. It's more like how you'd want to run, isn't it? I just think, yeah, I want to run from here to there, from this side of the island to the other side of the island.
So are you running from A to B to A?
No, no. So the bus will
Is it
like
point to
bring
point?
us, yeah, point to
Or is it
point.
out and
Yeah.
back?
No, point to point. It's
Okay, point to
driving
point.
us.
Okay.
Yeah, but it kind of like would say it'd be like, see, it's hard to say, and I know this will be on Spotify, so like I'm drawing a map on the screen, like, but I mean, it's like the finish. Let's say the finish is down there, and the start is up there, and your staying is kind of the middle. So the bus brings you down to one end, and then you just run back to the other side, and then you get a bus back to where you were. You know what I mean? So it is a point to point, like,
You described that
yeah,
well for the audio
yeah,
audio listeners. We
yeah.
we
I don't know.
understand.
Yeah, yeah.
But see, like
I tried. I
less
tried.
than 4,000 meters of vert over just over 100K. Like break
Mm.
it in half, and that is a fast 50, like two fast 50Ks. What
Yeah.
about the vert? Is it spread across the course, or is there big climbs and a runnable section, or is it just
It
lots of little
it's
cuts?
very rolly, very, very rolly. Like I think there's like a little bit of there's a punchy climb at the start and a punchy climb at the end, and then everything else is kind of in the middle. But it's very like rolly. That's the way it looks. It looks like it will be like fast. It looks like the climbs will be runnable, but at the same time, I'm feeling like just by looking at the YouTube videos, I'm thinking, well, look, I'm bringing poles. I'm not saying I'm going to need to use them, but I'm bringing them just in case because I don't want to be that guy that regrets bringing not having the poles when they're so light to carry. It's no harm. Throw them in the back. If you don't use them, you don't use them. If you use them, great.
You're a changed man. You're a changed
I
man carrying something that you don't have to carry.
Yeah, yeah. Just because I remember Istria last year, and like everyone was telling me was this is a runnable course, this is a runnable course. Now, granted, look, I've done Granite Peaks this year. That is 5,300 meters of climbing. I did that without poles, but I just felt like I trained so much without the poles. I didn't need them, but then. Look, I've used the poles at the World Champs, and I used them pretty well, as best as I could. And I just feel like, look, I have that kind of like saying, well, I was very efficient with the poles, so it's no problem to bring them. If I don't use them, I don't use them. I kind of feel like if it's a fast race, they'll be staying where they are.
I will definitely be using poles.
I'd definitely be using poles if it was 7,000 meters. Yeah.
Nearly eight, 7-7. Let's not discount it, although we're trying to minimize it in our heads. But I hear the GPT course is super technical.
Mm.
Like it's slick rock and a lot of steps. So what I have been doing since this week is when I come in from my runs, just doing like step ups on a high step up box just to get that
Oh,
extra stretch.
yeah, because steps are a fucker. Like steps are awkward, like, they're just awkward to train for, if you're just running up hills and then you get walloped with like a couple of hundred steps. That's where you can like get a cramp in your adductor or your hamstring or your glute goes or your calf goes. If you're not used to that, like you said, that change in the gait.
Yeah, and apparently it's super tricky if it's wet because the rock, a lot of the trail is rocky, or not like your loose rocks of Mallorca, but maybe like massive fucking boulders the size of houses. So they get slick and worn down with foot traffic. So then when it's wet, they're super slippy. But I still think like the Kailas 330 is the shoe to use. So that's what I'm gonna use whenever I'm in the mountains this week. With Mallorca, it's probably technical because that's what we hear about those trails. Are we thinking
Mm.
Rocket X Trail or Tecton X3?
Right now, I'm saying probably Rocket X Trail because I think it's going to be. I'm hoping it's going to be hot and dry, so the trails aren't going to be slippy. And then I don't think I'm going to need something like a 4 mil lug. I think a 3 mil lug would be plenty. And I just really like the feel of the Rocket X Trail. It's very light. It's a big looking shoe. Like to look at it, it looks like it's a like let's say it's got a lot of volume, but I just find that it's a very nimble shoe on my foot. Again, size 7. Every shoe is small in a size 7, eh? So it just feels
But
like
even the
it.
size 7 looks wide to me. Like, I
Yeah,
think it feels nimble because it's super light, but
yeah.
it still has a wide base.
Yeah, it does, but it's a very direct shoe though. Like when I saw it first, I was thinking, like, oh, it's as wide as like let's say the Bondi. That's kind of what it was, and I was thinking the Bondi flared out as well, kind of similar. And I used to think that it was a bit of a clumsy shoe, only good for like easy, slower runs, and recovery runs. And but then the Rocket X Trail might look like that, but it definitely isn't that kind of a shoe. It's very nimble, it's very light. You get a really good turnover in it, a really good gait cycle, and it's just a shoe I enjoy putting miles in.
You just made me think of something that I've never ever heard of, and that is what about the Bondi Trail? Uh,
Well, the Bondi Trail is probably like the Stinson, right? Or not the Stinson, but the Mafate X would be what I'd say is the Bondi Trail. It's a big, chunky shoe, big grips on it, a little bit on the. It's not a heavy shoe, but it's not a super light shoe. I'd be saying that's something like what the Bondi is. I would say the original Bondi Trail shoe was the Stinson.
Yeah, yeah, it could be. And
Mm,
the Mafari X, that was the shoe that won the Tour de Jean.
yeah. Yeah,
So
it's because that shoe, like again, like you're looking at something like where you need that cushion, you need that support. It's got a H frame in it. It's got carbon, but it's also got a H frame in it. So you're getting that stability. So when your legs are destroyed and you need something because look, you're not really in control of your legs by the end of a 330-kilometer race. So you do need that extra stability. So a great shoe for tour. Like I'd say similar to the Kylas 330. I would imagine that shoe is very, very stable, like it's got loads of grip, but it's got a wide platform and
it's
it
not.
just looks like it would be.
It doesn't feel wide. Like it's. I think the width of the Hoka shoes is fairly unique. Like that's one of the qualities.
Mm,
Whenever you see a Hoka shoe, it's like it gets its stability from the width. The Kailash shoe does feel like it's got more of a precision footprint, but
yeah.
it's very hard to compare the two. I think the Kailash stuff feels more similar to like a La Sportiva, but
Mm,
maybe with like a Hoka style foam.
yeah. Yeah. Now, as well, just on the Mafate X, like the Mafate X, it might look like a heavy shoe, but when it's on your foot, it doesn't feel heavy. Like it doesn't feel like it's too much shoe. I always had that kind of like I think that'd be just too much shoe on my foot, as in that it'd just be coming up too high on my ankle. It'd feel like I'm dragging around a substantial block on my foot, but it doesn't feel like that at all. Like it actually is so much lighter than you would expect. Like, yeah.
Percentage of body weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, couple of
You,
things we
you,
need to get into. I need to know, like, training camp goals. What are are there key sessions? Are there long runs? Are we doing long runs? Like the stuff that I'm doing this week with full race kit, maybe a little bit heavier to
yeah.
force me to go at kind of 100-mile effort. Are you thinking about things like this? So let's give a few minutes here to the training camp goals this week and next week.
Well, this training camp is so different, right? This is actually, and it's very cool at the same time because I'm here with a couple of very, very fast road runners. That's who I'm here with. And there's a few lads here looking to break 2:20 in the Dublin Marathon. So these lads are fast. So I'm training with these boys all this week. So, okay, I will every like 1 or 2 days I'll be going away and I'll be doing my own thing. But I'd say 80% of the time I'm trying to get fast with these lads, you know. So I'm going to be doing a lot of the sessions with these boys. I'm going to be doing a lot of the easy miles with these guys. And just to let you know, they don't run easy. There's nothing easy. I did a 13-kilometer run there and we were at altitude and we were running at 4:26 a kilometer, something like that. You know, there's nothing easy about that. And the second I walked outside the door, the altitude actually hit me here. It hit me here more than it's hit me anywhere else before. I know the temperature was a bit cooler because it was that time of the evening, but the first 500 meters of that run, I was thinking, holy man, that's different now. That's just different. Okay, I settled into it after a while. We all kind of felt it, you know what I mean? The first 500 meters, and then we settled in. But I was thinking, all right, this is going to be hard. I'm going to be working hard for the next 2 weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. That's a big mix-up for me, and to be training with a group of lads as well is a big change for me as well. I'm more used to training on my own, but I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing how much benefit I can get from number one being here at altitude and also doing a lot of speed work with these lads. You know.
So you're focusing on speed. Well, I think that's probably a
Mm,
good thing based on this course, if you're saying that it's rolly. And the last
yeah.
course, you had a massive stimulus that involved a lot of hiking.
Yeah. And for that reason, I don't feel like I need to force the hiking. You know what I mean? I think the strength that I got from that race and from the training leading into that race, I don't think that's just going to disappear, you know? And like around here, okay, I'm not going to run up big mountains, but it's very rolly and it's a lot of like, okay, you'll be running on road, then you're on trail, you're road, trail. And it's like a mixed variation of different types of terrain. But there's lots of punchy hills on it, you know. There's road climb hills where they're really, really steep and you're running up them and you're doing loops and lots of stuff. And again, you're doing all that at pace. So I just think this is Mallorca is the perfect race for me to be here, for me to be like training right now where I am. I think it's the perfect race.
So the idea behind doing Mallorca, the 100K, the UTMB race, like you mentioned earlier on about you'll have 14 stones. Do you even need stones? Did we not hear like during the summer about certain index scores don't need stones to get an entry for UTMB, which is what next year's goal is?
True, but I have to double check because I think I'm at like 783, right? So I don't know. You could have to be 800 to get in straight into UTMB. I'm not 100% sure on that. So a couple of things the reason I would like to do this race is I would like to finish as high up as I could, as in I want to finish or try and get as close to a top 10 finish as I can. And obviously, if I can get into the top 10, let's see how high up in that top 10 I can get.
What was
And
the
let's see
winning
if I
time
can.
last year? Do you know?
No, I don't. It's like I leave that. I kind of leave that. I look at that when I'm done here. Do you know what I mean? I'd always like look at something like that, and I look at that all those top 10 times, and it's a different course as well. But yes,
Okay.
you can still take like the distance. The vert's going to be the same, similar terrain. Might be a different course, but the times would be thereabouts. But I kind of leave that until about 2 weeks out, and then I kind of focus in on that a bit more. While I'm here doing this, I'm more focused on just what I'm doing right now. But I'd like to, like, let's see how close I can get to the top 10 finish. Let's see against other athletes that have high scores, higher scores than me. Let's see how close I can get to them so that I can bump my score up a bit more and get it closer to that 800 score. Look, the 800 score is like the magic number. If you get 800, you can damn near get into every race in the UTMB World Series, with an 800 score. And then the other reason is like, there's little things. There's like, where I was first Irish home in the world champs, and that's brilliant, and I'm super proud of that. But also I was 85th in the world, so 85th in the world, I don't know, it's like, it's very, very good, but I'd like it to be better. So it's a little bit of like, I want to run really well just so that I can show that I am one of the best runners out there. I am like still able to put on a big performance against big, big athletes and finish high up in a field like that. Because then again, it's like, look, you're coming to the end of the season. I want another contract. I want another year added to my Hoka contract. I want to be able to go back in and say, look, I finished here. I did this. I did Western States. I was 17th. All these things help when you're negotiating a contract. So like, that's another reason why I want to do it. And obviously, I'm not going to say what it's going to get me, or because I don't know, but it's just to have something in your resume that you can push forward when you're talking.
Yeah, Hoka will want to sponsor. You might be 85th in the world in the world champs, and that was so stacked that that is a representative number.
Hmm.
But Hoka and shoe brands will look at a country, and
Yeah.
if that is Ireland, the UK, that is a key market. Where is Ricky in that hierarchy? And you're by
Hmm.
far the best in Ireland, and also in the UK, very high in that list as well. So, like, comparing yourself to 85th in the world with the massive American market and rest of world, it kind of doesn't really do it justice, although it's nice to
Yeah.
see where Ireland stacks up. But it's more like, where does
Yeah.
Ireland stack up rather than where does Ricky stack up? In that sense, there's more to the business decision than 85th in the world. It's like, look at the amount of people that you influence in Ireland
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
from being, Ricky Wynn and winning whatever you want to do in that market.
Yeah. 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 But then it's also just for me because like I want, to know what I can do in a race like Mallorca. You know what I mean? I want to know like how fast I can run. Like I could play it safe and I could just run in Ireland and do a few races in the UK and pick races and maybe win all of those races. But at the end of the day, what good is that like either, like yeah, you can win all them races and it's great, and I get a trophy and I can put it in the trophy cabinet. But same time, I want to go up against the best runners in the game and see how close I can get to them. Because how else do you improve as a runner if you don't go up against the best? Like.
I think it is important to pick races, but not always pick races. Like, there are athletes out there that we see and they just, look at the fucking races this guy or girl's doing, and
Yeah.
this, you can just see they're just picking races that aren't competitive or aren't, like, they're not interested in testing themselves against the best,
Yeah.
and that's okay. Like, those are your training races, but you still, like, you're going and doing this Mallorca race because you want to run a UTMB race, which is always competitive. There's gonna be a couple of really good people there. There's gonna be probably a really strong top five there as
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
So I think, I think it's a good thing to do, but also,
I,
like,
and again, it's like it's not like I just go in willy nilly. Again, I'm picking that race too. It's like I'm going, okay, it's a November race. It's coming to the end of the season. I don't think it's going to be tremendously stacked with the best of the best. So you have to be like self-aware of like of your competition and how good you can go up against them. Like if Killian, Jim, Benjamin, Poopy, if they were all lining up in it, I might have thought again and I might have said, do you know what? There's not much point me going to that race, because it's that like elusive kind of top 10. I think for an Irish athlete to finish top 10 in a UTMB race is fucking huge. I think it's huge. I think it shouts like we're here, you know what I mean? Don't forget about us. We're a small little country, but you know what I mean? We are here and we can place well at these races. So I think that's a big deal, like to come in the top 10 in the UTMB race. I think, there's only a handful of Irish lads that have ever done it.
I think whatever like was a top 5 time last year, the way the trend is going in ultra trail, like whatever would have been 5th last year will be 10th this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy. And you're saying you're picking that race and blah blah blah. But there's every UTMB, even a less stacked UTMB race has a couple of weapons.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
then
This.
and then you've
Mm,
got the people who'll beat you that you've never heard of.
yeah.
And that's your, could be your third right through, that middle of the top 10. Um, so yeah, you're gonna get a race, whether whether
Yeah,
you
yeah,
like it or
like
not.
that, like that, and that's it. Like we'd say, there's going to be a ton of lads, all with an index the same as mine. There'll be a ton of lads, and that's what I always say. It's like at the end of these races, it's very, very hard to pass lads because everyone's good, everyone's fit, and everybody's fast. So like it's just micro margins that are like getting you one place or two places or three places. Like yeah, like you need to be on it, in these races, which is again is what I want to be doing. It's like that's why I enter these races so that I can go toe to toe with these guys. Like
Are you still thinking about Chianti for next year?
I am, yeah, I am, yeah. I just think Chianti's one of them. Like the more I think about it, the more I think it's a race that probably won't suit me. That kind of way.
I
So
don't think you should do it. I think Chianti next year is gonna suffer from all of the marketing it had this year,
mm,
and
yeah,
it'll end up having loads of people go. It'll sell out without a doubt. I don't think that's the one to do.
I did hear that. We'd say out of the two races that are going on in Italy, the focus is on Chianti. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anything else on Mallorca before we move on and start to wrap things up?
no, no. I was going to like look because we talk about training and then we talk about fueling, right? And I think they kind of go hand in hand, right? It's like you can't train and race well if you don't fuel well. So I just had like a funny story from the Worlds, and I was thinking about it the other day, and I was laughing about it because I was sharing. Can I tell the story? I'm going to
Of
tell it
course.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it'll just tell you the different types of people they are in this sport, right? And you have the overthinkers and the underthinkers. And I'm not saying one's better than the other or anything like that, but it's just there's so many different variations and so many different types of people. Some people obsess about this, that, and the other, and other people don't really give a shit, right? So this is a prime example. I'm sharing a room with Killian Fleming. Killian was on the Irish team with me. Killian's a badass trail runner. Very, very good lad. Is actually running for Kailas at the minute as well. And then we're sharing a room together. It's the night before the race. We're getting our nutrition ready for the race. And mainly we're getting our drop bags ready to give to the boys downstairs so that they can give us them at drop bag 1, drop bag 2. And then we're using everything else for in between. So Killian has got a bag of precision, right? He's got a bag of maltodextrin and he's got a bag of fructose. He's got a weighing scales. He's got a scoop. He's got a funnel and he's got all his bottles. And he is whatever measuring out X amount of precision, X amount of fructose, X amount of that. He's his own special blend that he's tried and tested and that he knows this per gram, everything. I mean, down to a T. So he is on that side of the room sorting out his shit. I'm
Overthinking.
on the overthinking, right? Overthinking and doing what a lot of people do, right? Like
Yeah,
they have it
but
down to
on
a
that side of
T
the spectrum.
on that side of the spectrum, right? Other side of the room is Ricky. Ricky is getting all his gels. And remember this now, right? That I had only intended on running with gels. No, no hydration, no like drink mix. So only gels. I throw all my gels on the bed and I count them. And as I'm counting them, I realize, didn't bring enough gels, Ricky. So I didn't bring enough gels. So I'm like, okay, well, that plan is out the window now. So none of this I've said out loud, right? No, so remember this, this is all in my head, right? So I say, all right, okay, let me see. I have this amount of gels. They're 40 grams per gel. I'm 5 foot, don't weigh a lot. Don't really need 40. 30 you'd get me. So 30 per half hour, so that's 2 per hour, right? So I put 4 gels into the soft flask because I'm using the soft flask for the gels. So now I've got that, right? So I go, okay. Then I get a bottle of Torque drink mix and I put 45 grams of carbs into that. So 3 scoops into that. So then I go, all right, there you go. That's 40, that's, I'm saying 30, 30, 30, 30. That's 2 hours and the bottle is 3 hours. And then I'm saying, but I've got 10 grams left over. Again, haven't said this out loud, right? This is in my head. So I do the same with the next 4 gels and the next drink mix and the next 4 gels and the next drink mix. And then I've got another bottle of drink mix and I've only got 3 gels. So, because the soft flask I'm using only takes 3 gels. So then I go, right. Again, it's not enough, right? But I haven't said this out loud. This is all in my head. And then I go, yeah, but I'm going to be drinking Coke here, there, and everywhere. And I'm going to be leaving every aid station with 500 mils of Coke. So then the only
Which
thing
is
I say
40
out
grams
loud,
or 50 grams? It's 40 grams, isn't it, for a bottle of Coke?
yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. And I'm leaving with a full bottle, like I'm leaving with 500 mil of Coke. So then Killian looks over at me, and the only thing I'm saying out loud is this, and I'm doing this with my hands. I'm going from left to right, kind of like, and I go, that's around 10 hours. And he is there looking at me with his hands on his head, going, "You're just a bollocks," like you know what I mean? Because he is like thinking about every single little thing, and I'm like going, sure that'll do." And sure, if it doesn't, I'll grab something else, or I'll get something else, or I'll pick something else out of an aid station. But I'm trying to convince myself that that's enough. That's going to do the job and that's all I'm going to put my time into. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to stress about it. That's what you've got. So make it work.
I think, but that uses less energy.
Yeah.
Like you've used less energy thinking about it the night before, which is always a terrible time to be doing this shit anyway. But when you're traveling to a race, you've no other choice. But then during the race, Killian had mental energy thinking about, am I on top of this? Where am I on per hour? Am I getting this down? I'm falling behind. Whereas you're like, you know, well, sure, I'll take this. Sure, I'm getting Coke. I'll have an extra, I'll have a sip of Coke before I fill the bottle up. That'll be a wee bit more. So it's way
Yeah.
more uh, touchy-feely, kind of just going with the flow, which is, it uses less energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, for me on the day, right, it worked really well. And I'm not saying, because there's no exact science, there's zero exact science to what I did. But I know that, like, if I take all of this amount of stuff and then I start feeling, oh, dear, I feel like I'm very in tune with how I'm feeling while I'm running. And I go, well, I don't want anything for the next 20 minutes, so I don't put anything into me for like 20 minutes, let everything settle down, and then I start putting stuff back into me again. And then when I've ran out of everything, I'm going, okay, I'm at this distance now, everything is gone, but it's okay, it's fine, because I have enough in me right now, and if I just don't think about it, don't worry about it, just get to the next aid station, then I refuel again, and I'm back on top again. And I'm not messing with you. In that race, I'm not saying it was the perfect thing to do, and maybe someone will correct me and tell me that, oh, well, if you did this, this, and this, you mightn't have finished 85th, you might have finished 75th in the world. But at that time in the race, I never had a low. I never once had a drop in energy. I never once had a drop in focus. So I was like on it, you know what I mean? And I was feeling good, and I was like, I just had energy all day for the whole race. So technically that worked.
I think you may have been focused and on it because of the amount of Coke that you drank.
Yeah, yeah. There was a massive problem. I don't advise it because the next day, like, all I wanted to do was sleep, and I couldn't sleep a wink. Not a wink, man.
Yeah, because you had like the equivalent to 30 cups of coffee during
Mm.
that race.
But we talked about it, right? Because I did say to you that I was going to take a lot of coke. Like, I was going to really, really tune in and just say, because it's not something I do. Like before, I normally would have had maybe, a glass of Coke or a cup of Coke at the halfway point, and then I might have had another cup of Coke with 20k left in the race or
Yeah.
something like that. And then when I was at Western States, what I really noticed was all of the top end runners were hammering Coke into them. And I was thinking, like, it's shit. And I'm not saying Coke's good for you. It's by no means good for you. But for ultra running, it just works. There's just that perfect balance of caffeine, sugar, and flavor, and I don't know, magic. And it just gets you going. And sometimes all you need is Coke.
But like caffeine gels are not as nice tasting. So if you can
No.
just get your caffeine from Coke, it's very simple. You're sticking
Yeah.
it in a bottle, you're drinking it, you're getting hydration as well from the Coke, you're getting the caffeine. It Flat Coke is also meant to be good for your like to settle a stomach. So
Yeah.
it can
Yeah.
it can help in that sense as well. Whereas sometimes you take a caffeine gel and you're like, I didn't like that. You're several hours into a race and then it's in your stomach and maybe it can go funny in the stomach as well. So I'm 100% on the Coke train and I'll be taking it as well. And start early. Like I remember we used to like the thing in the ultras was like thinking back to like UTMBs and CTC and several years ago, many years ago, don't take Coke before Champagne Lac.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, you know, the times when you had Coke early, it's like, oh, you're on the Coke early. And it would even go in your head because of what people were saying that, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you've gone early on the Coke, but as long as you're not going early on the Coke and you've still got, like Brian Mullins, 4 days to go,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
caffeine's not going to help you if your race is 2 and 3 days long. But if your race is 100K, if your race is 24 hours, if your race is maybe 30 hours, you can probably start
Yeah.
whacking the Coke whenever you want and just
Yeah.
ride that
Because
caffeine train the whole way home.
yeah, like it's just that quick energy. I've never taken a gel with caffeine in it that number one hasn't annoyed my stomach, but two, the speed in which the caffeine goes into your system is too slow. I think it's too slow because you need to take it 40 minutes, probably 40 minutes before you actually take it, right? But you don't think about taking it 40 minutes. You want that hit now, and Coke gives you that hit, because it's giving you the sugar, not even about the caffeine, but it's giving you the sugar hit. And then by the time the sugar hit wears off, I think then you're getting the caffeine hit. I think that's how it's working. I think that's where it's getting its magic. It's like, it's just that perfect, like, balance of sugar and carbs and
Yeah,
caffeine.
the stimulation ramps up from sugar, easily digestible, and then the caffeine starting to hit. So I would say I would tend to feel the hit from Coke within 10 to 15 minutes,
Yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah.
perfect. Look, I think we should wrap things up. Anything more on your side before before we do so?
No, no, just that it's going to be a fun 2 weeks here in Tantrums. That's all I know. Big, big miles at altitude. I can't wait.
So next week's show will be from the same place, and we know that 5G is the way to go. But
Mm,
I think what we will do is we'll put out a question box on Instagram and take questions for next week's show, and that'll give us some viewer input, which might be welcomed. Don't think there was any community racers, so there's nothing to shout out on that. In terms of fantasy league, upcoming races are Templier and Ultra Trail Cape Town, so we've got a few weeks for that. I think Templier is Friday week, not this Friday, Friday after. Tom Jolie is racing that, and we will have Tom Jolie on the podcast.
Ah,
I
nice.
think after that as well. And I guess nothing else for me. Join the Trail Talk community if you want to talk shit with me and Ricky and the rest of the 490 people in the community. And actually, one thing I do want to leave the viewers with. I was doing my speed session the other day, right? And I was doing it on this loop, which was like 3.6K. And I was thinking, the mind started to think, like, because I started it at this water fountain. I was like, how far is it to that water fountain? And straight away, I thought, it doesn't fucking matter because
Yeah.
you're finishing the loop.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about where is the water fountain. You're finishing the loop. It doesn't fucking matter. And as soon as I thought that, it was straight back into just running, just keeping the pace, monitoring the breathing, focusing on what I was doing. I meant to mention
I'm
that
see
earlier.
I'm seeing that mantra pop up, man. I'm telling you, it's growing legs. People are using it in their feeds. It's a
When
good
so
one.
whenever
I'm
whenever
not
you're out there and you're going, fuck, this altitude training is hard. Like I'm
mm,
struggling to breathe. It doesn't fucking matter because you're there for 2 weeks. It's not
that's
gonna
it,
go
yeah.
away.
No. No, and whenever I want to give out to these road runners as well, it doesn't fucking matter either, like, because
Because
they're
you're
not
gonna
going
go and do
away
it.
either. Yeah.
So on that note, for me, it doesn't fucking matter. From you,
Keep showing up.
yeah.
Peace.
Peace.